An emotional day for a lot of those involved in the space industry and indeed a lot of Americans.
Yes, it was an emotional day. There was a big crowd there to see the Atlantis shuttle landing. It didn't quite go, I suppose, to the perfect script for NASA in the sense that the shuttle actually beat the sun back to the Kennedy Space Center. So the shuttle landed in darkness, and despite the fact that there was a huge crowd near the landing strip to witness the occasion, they didn't get to see very much, though the sun came up very soon after. It is an extraordinary end to this 30-year program. The mission really went off seamlessly. It wasn't necessarily a high science mission, it was a resupply mission, but it's a sad day for NASA workers because many of them, perhaps 1,500, are expecting to get their layoff notices tomorrow. And certainly the shuttle crew was very mindful of that. So are NASA officials. Today they were trying to point ahead because there is this uncertainty over what happens with America's space program now. They were talking about perhaps unveiling plans for a heavy lift rocket sometime in the weeks or months ahead, but again, not too many specifics. They're suggesting that private space companies might be able to start unmanned cargo missions to the International Space Station as early as later this year, though again, that remains to be seen. And a senior NASA official, Bill Gerstenmaier, was also talking about when private companies might be able to take US astronauts back to the International Space Station, but that's still some years off. Here's some of what he had to say.
We're in the middle of Commercial Crew Development 2, which is a series of tests, and you know the contractors that are involved, the 4 that we've got. And then we'll go ahead and continue to work through that. We'll potentially look at some contracts or SpaceX to go ahead and continue that activity. We think that culminates sometime around in a flight in maybe 2015, 2016 timeframe. It's a lot of work to really get ready to go carry crew, and we'll let the technical work kind of drive us and see where we are. But I think from a planning standpoint, we'll look to that kind of time frame.
And Craig, in the meantime, NASA will have to rely on America's old Cold War adversary to get its astronauts into space.
Yes, they will, and it doesn't sit well with a lot of Americans you talk to. Now, the price tag for that is probably each flight's going to be $50 or $60 million, but that compares with the cost of actually launching a space shuttle, which is anywhere between $700 million and $1 billion US each time. And with cash-strapped Washington the way it is right now, the administration just decided it was time to retire the shuttle program. Atlantis is bound for a museum. In his press conference, the shuttle commander, Chris Ferguson, pointed to the fact that there is this uncertainty right now about the future direction of the US space program. He said, we do really need something to look forward to. And I think that sentiment is certainly being shared by the huge NASA workforce and by many Americans who got up very early to watch this landing this morning.